You want to be able to do this type of damage to bosses, and this is the hardest boss in the game. This also works all the way up to Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, which I'll show you in a second. But you can with this little Vex build. Now I'm going to show you exactly how you can get this build and what's the easiest thing to do. So firstly, the immediate thing you need to do this build is a purple grenade ordnance, which is a throwing knife, and it needs to have penetrator augment. The reason it needs penetrator augment is because it guarantees critical hits for 5 seconds. Now, where can you farm this? It is not a unique drop, so it can be farmed from anything. So the fastest would be the boss Splash Zone. It's down here in the very south of the map. It's the very first boss you should ever fight, and you're going to want to farm with this. I'll show you guys a quick run of farming him for this. I'm on Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, and I'm still going to kill him very, very quickly with this build, and you'll see why. So first, you want to hit them with your throwing knife, deal a little bit of damage, hit them with another throwing knife, and they'll instantly die. Depending on how much health the boss has, the more throwing knives you'll need, because essentially what the throwing knife is doing is keeping your bleed going. And on Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, a lot of legendaries do drop, and I'll show you guys why. Because when you select Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, loot quality is increased, and all these other things are buffed like you see here. So you're going to want to farm him until you get a purple drop of a throwing knife that has those perks. And to keep your game less laggy and make a bunch of money during the meantime, press Q on all the items or whatever your pickup as junk option is. After you've killed Splash Zone, all you want to do is double jump here and then boost back across. Dash over these machines. Press Q on the machine to sell all your junk. Press E on the Encore to buy it again, and then kill him again. And you want to repeat this until you get that throwing knife, because it is very important. A good thing to note about this throwing knife is you don't need to be on Ultimate Vault Hunter 5 or have a high level 1, because you're not worried about the actual damage the throwing knife does itself. Until I randomly got this level 41, I was using one that was level 7 until I was level 39. So the damage literally does not matter or level on the knife. It just needs to have penetrator augment, and you'll know if it has penetrator augment if it has damage and payload, because those two only come together. As for your skills, we will start most importantly with the incarnate green skill tree on Vex. This is where she gets all of this. The first thing you want to pick up is 5 leeching attunement. It's just going to give you lifesteal. The whole bread and butter of this build is right here, Bloodletter. It is your bleed skill. It says gun and critical hits have a chance to apply bleed. Chance becomes 50% at max. You ideally want to get a class item that has the most stacks of this possible, because that'll buff the damage of the bleed and make it even faster. What class item has those? It is the Scion class item. Mine is very bad. It has +1 Bloodletter. You can get one with all the way up to +3 Bloodletter. That is what you're going to want. But once again, this is a purple. There's no legendary Scion, so you literally have to farm this from whatever boss you feel like farming. So I would just look for this while you go for the other weapons and items I show. But once you max out your Bloodletter, you want to go into material components for more damage. You want to go into target for more damage and crit chance. And then before you put 4 into drink full, head over to the blue tree, put 5 into cold iron for damage, put 5 into portents of suffering for status effect damage, put 5 into grave fiends for a kill skill for more damage, then 5 into recurrence for another kill skill for more damage, and then 5 into prismatic weaponry for even more damage. Then with your last 4, you'll have 4 extra points. Put them into drink full. Might as well stack on some more fire rate. The higher fire rate, the faster the bleed procs, so it's even better. And you don't need any action skill buffs. I just put on Witchy Trigger Finger, because you might as well. It's just more gun damage. As far as weapons to proc it, ideally you want the Wombo combo weapon, which it automatically fires rockets from the underbarrel, a high damage sniper, and the Hot Slugger. Hot Slugger is the most important because this is what you're going to use for general ad clear, and I'll show you guys this here. When you're not just killing bosses, you obviously need something to kill enemies. The Hot Slugger does a ton of damage. Ideally what you'll do, if there's a tougher enemy, you'll hit him with a throwing knife, then hit him with one shot of the Hot Slugger, and then don't even worry about them anymore because they will die. But the Hot Slugger also just does a ton of damage in general. But to farm the Hot Slugger, you want to head all the way to the middle right of the map towards the heart of the mountain. You'll see Callous, Harbinger of Annihilating. You're going to want to go to that boss. That is what drops this. Before I show you farming that boss, as far as the Wombo combo and the high damage sniper, they're completely interchangeable. It can realistically be anything you want. A Jacob's assault rifle or a Jacob pistol works just as well, but the Hot Slugger is a necessity for killing really high damage enemies and bleeding them really quickly. But essentially the main part of this build is keeping your bleed going. So your bleed stacks and permanent crits only happen for 5 seconds because that's your knife's charge. So technically you're trying to make sure you throw a knife at whatever enemy you're trying to kill within every 5 seconds, ideally at 4 seconds to get the max time out of your throwing knives. Which means the best throwing knife you could get is the one with the most charges and the lowest cooldown. Mine only has 3 charges and an 11-second cooldown. I believe it can go all the way to 6 or 7-second cooldown with 4 or 5 charges, ideally if you wanted a perfect knife. So keep that in mind when you're looking for the knife. If it has very low charges, the build will still work, but you're going to have a tough time with general ad clear. Okay, once you get the Callus, I'll show you exactly how you farm them before you have the Hot Slugger. So you're going to want to have that high damage sniper rifle or that super fast firing flat off. And I'll show you. You hit him with a throwing knife, burn him as fast as you can, count to 4 in your head, throw your next throwing knife, and then I switch to my sniper rather than reloading. Make sure you keep the crit damage going, throw your next knife, and he should die from this burn here. Keep in mind this is a slow kill because I'm not using the Hot Slugger. And also, this is Ultimate Vault Hunter 5 on a level 52 enemy. That is all you essentially need for this build. There is little things that could help. Like, for example, I have an enhancement with increased shotgun damage and increased critical gun damage. You could get a good shield for it. You could get a good defibrillate. You could get a good rep kit for it, where when you use your rep kit, you deal more damage. There's a tons of things you could do to improve on the build, but the core access of the build has been explained, and it probably will get nerfed because the bleed does scale infinitely, but I do believe this build will still be very powerful in the future. So for more Borderlands 4 videos and guides, be sure to follow. Bye guys!